Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this edition of discussion on the Indian Express dated 15th of July 2022. I'm back again with some of the major articles from newspaper. So let's begin our today's discussion. From page number 1, GS2 health section, there is an article that says 35-year-old from Kerala is India's first monkeypox case and center sends the team. So from this article, first of all, you have to know about monkeypox, its transmission and outbreaks. Moving further on page number 1 itself from GS3 Economy Sector, the article is headlined as For New Projects, the National Highway Authority of India back to Build, Operate, Transfer model. So the National Highway Authority of India is set to return to funding through the private investments, and it plans to offer at least 2 highway upgradation projects to the private players, and that is by using the Build, Operate, Transfer model. And under this model, a private player is granted concession to finance, build and operate a project for a specified period of time, that is around 20 or 30-year concession period. From this article, you have to know what is the build, operate, transfer model, and also you have to know about other models like the public-private partnership, the PPP model. Moving further on page number 7 from GS2 International Relations. So as we see in the picture, the first ever virtual I2U2 summit took place yesterday, and Israeli Prime Minister of India, UAE President, and the US President took part in this virtual summit. So, the I2U2 grouping was conceptualized during the meeting of foreign ministers of 4 countries that was held October 18 last year. So, the article is headlined as I2U2 has set good model for cooperation, says our Prime Minister. From this article, you have to know what are the outcome of the recent I2U2 summit. Also know about this I2U2 initiative and the focus and significance of this grouping. Moving further on page number 8 from GS2 Polity and Governance, the article is about the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program. So the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao to be extended to all the districts, and the program is currently operational in 405 districts in India. This program focuses on education of girl child and also improving the sex ratio. So from this article you have to know about the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program, the recent guidelines issued by the Women and Child Development, and also the objectives and need of this move. Moving further on page number 9 from GS3 Economy Sector, Fasal Bima, who is in, out and why. So article says Andhra Pradesh has rejoined the crop insurance scheme Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana after having opted out in the year 2019, and which other states remain out and what are their issues with the scheme, says the article. From this article, you have to know about the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, what are its objectives, what are its features, and which other states remain out and what are their issues with the scheme. How was the scheme structured and what has changed since then? Further on, what is the possible scenario ahead? Moving further on page number 9 from GS2 Polity and Governance, the article is headlined as What are unparliamentary words, unfit for a house, and how are they listed? From this article, you have to know what are the rules related to unparliamentary words for the parliament, and also how the list of unparliamentary expression is prepared. Now moving on to page number 12 from GS2 International Relations, there's an article from the editorial section. It is written by Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer and it is related to the Sri Lankan crisis. So the writer says that we can draw lessons from the Sri Lankan crisis. The article is headlined as Sri Lanka, a cautionary tale. So he says if the government had resolved to make Panchayati Raj the focus of government, they would have received feedback from the people rather than people taking down to streets. From this article, you have to know what are the reasons behind Sri Lankan crisis, India's support to handle the crisis, and how the Sri Lanka collapse carries lesson for all the South Asian governments, and what are the future prospects. Alright, moving further on page number 12 itself from GS2 Polity and Governance, there is an article again from the Russia-Ukraine war. So the article is headlined as No Winners in This War. NATO, aware of the very real threat of Russia's nuclear option, cannot do more, and Russia, in possession of the territory won at enormous cost, cannot do less. So from this article, you have to know about the Ukraine crisis and how the NATO, European Union and G7 have sprung up into action. What are the repercussions across the globe? Does India have the potential to get the warring parties to the negotiation table, and also the available opportunities for India and what lies ahead? Moving further on page number 12 from GS3 Economy Sector. So there's an article that talks about 5 years of GST. So the article is headlined as Preparing for GST 2.0. The next stage of reform in the tax regime requires creating federal institutions, a secretariat that can bring together central and the state offices. So the writer says that now we have a single tax across the country that is combined with common technology platform, that is GSTN. So therefore we have witnessed a record number of GST registration increasing from 1.08 crore in April 2018 to 1.36 crore in 2022. And in addition, the revenue gains have been significant. And from this article, you have to know about the 5 years of GST journey. What are the achievements? What are the teething problems of GST? And what does the next reform in tax regime requires? Moving further on page number 17 from GS3 economy sector, there are two articles. The first one is headlined as Costlier import may pull down the current account deficit, says the finance minister. So from this article, you have to know about the fiscal deficit and the other terms related like the current account deficit, twin deficit, and what are the recent data related to them. Another article is headlined as Need meaningful revenues from the deal, says the finance minister. So this was during the G20 Ministerial Symposium on Tax and Development that recently happened in Bali. And from this article, you have to know what is the global minimum tax deal and what does it mean. All right. With this, we call it a wrap of today's edition of Headlines of the Day, the Indian Express. I hope you liked the video. I will see you with some other video. Till then, take care and do stay tuned.